2, yeah. 212.
We now might give him, so them go do the thing. Yes. I make a send that rather than cable and thing, and just wait on the very. Just here, you know, man, already.
212.
people say, though some have to leave to make their way, but in their hearts I know their destiny. So come home and big up the country. Sweet, sweet TNT. Lord, how I love of this country. Islands in the sun, islands in the fun. Welcome, welcome one and all to the land of death. Trini to the bone, Trini to the bone. When it comes to Bacchanal, well, they can't beat we at Trini to the bone, Trini to the bone. Sweet woman parade abundantly. The brethren they full of energy. Some people say God is a Trini. Paradise are not convincingly. God gave us a spirit fiery. But nothing in the world will bother we. But look at smart man gone with money. We still come out and mash up the body. Sweet, sweet TNT. Oh, how I love of this country. Sweet, sweet TNT. No place in this world I'd rather be. Sweet, sweet TNT. Oh, how I love of my country. Sweet, sweet TNT. All this sugar can't be good for me. Oh.
2, check 1, 2, yeah. 2, hey, yeah, check 1, 2.
Yeah, yeah, that's not good. Yeah, that. Next slide, huh? Level? Yeah. Now, no, this is different from here. You're probably taking some around. So this done, you do that thing. This is so low. You ain't gonna set this one so low because you like to sound.
1, 2, 2, 2. Check Check 1 2. Check 1 2. 1 2. You're gonna have the solo now, but the man talk very loud. 2 1 2. Yeah. Check 1 2. Yeah.
Everything organized.
2 1 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 1 2. Yeah. 1 2.
Outside out.
Check 1 2. It outside. 2 1 2. Yeah. All right.
Pleasant good afternoon to each and every one. Of course, we want to issue first of all a warm welcome to those of you who will be joining us, those of you who is already here, And of course, those on the World Wide Web. Today, as usual, later on tonight, we will have TNT Speaks. We are also on radio 97.5 FM, hot like pepper. So as we continue today with the douglAR radio, remember later on you will have sitting in my spot none other than the Honorable Anil Roberts, who will chair tonight's proceedings in relation to TNT Speaks. But ladies and gentlemen, as we get right into today's discussion, we want to, of course, you know, a while ago I was listening to Minister Stuart Young, and Minister Stuart Young speaking to the press, he is saying that it's premature to have any discussions in terms of resignation from the Parliamentary board. We want to continue to extend condolences to the families of those who have lost their loved ones as a result of the mishap down at Paria in Pointe-à-Pierre. Ladies and gentlemen, we must continue to ask the question, and there are so many questions that need answers. And we, the people of this country, there is many questions that we need to ask in relation to governance in our country. We have seen the failure of a government who came into office from since 2015 to now. And all we have experienced is failure and more failure. We have seen a government that fails in every ministry. Every single ministry in this government. We have seen incompetence. We have seen negligence. We have seen a certain misbehavior by government officials. And today, as the opposition continues to seek answers for the so many questions, to date there is none forthcoming. We have seen and witnessed the trampling, the breach of our democracy. We have seen a government that breached our constitution. We have seen a conspiracy by those in high office, as high as the presidency in this country. And today, ladies and gentlemen, there is no answers to the so many questions that the opposition continue to put forth on a daily basis. For us, as the citizens of this country, and I am urging you, ladies and gentlemen, that collectively we must stand to ensure that good governance prevail in our country. We have seen, ladies and gentlemen, today we have a crime situation that is out of control, not by our doing, but by the doing of a prime minister who conspire with others and breach the law, causing a serious infringement as far as our constitution is concerned. That today, ladies and gentlemen, we have witnessed the crushing of a whole police service commission. We have seen individuals who boast that they were not interested in the position of Commissioner of Police, we have seen today that Jacob sits in the chair as acting Commissioner of Police, a man who was somewhere 6, 7, or 8 on the merit list. And this is the type of governance that the people of this country supports. And I'm blaming every single citizen for what is happening in our country. Because if we as a people, if we care about democracy, if we care about law and order, we as the citizens of this country would take the necessary steps to ensure that this government call fresh elections where a new mandate can be given in order to run this country. Ladies and gentlemen, when we looked at the excuses that this Prime Minister continued to bring to the table, it's excuse after excuse after excuse. And we, the citizens in this country, we must stand, we must ensure that when we elect individuals to administrate, that they administrate according to our laws, according to our constitution. We can no longer sit idly by and have a Prime Minister who sits in the chair, a chair, ladies and gentlemen, which should set and establish the highest principles in our land. We are witnessing a Prime Minister today in our country who condones all sorts of ridiculous behavior. A matter of fact, the behavior of the Prime Minister of this country is shameful. We have seen, ladies and gentlemen, that Keith Christopher Rowley states quite clearly that the buck stops with him. And if the buck stops with you, Keith Rowley, then you are the one that the country ought to hold responsible for any mishap in governance. You have failed this country. We have seen a government from 1956, a government who ruled this land for just about 47 years. And coming out of this 47 years, ladies and gentlemen, today we are witnessing a party, ladies and gentlemen, who trample every fundamental rights of you, the citizens of this country. We have witnessed a party who have no respect for what is right, no respect for law and order. And we as the citizens of this country, we have to rethink our position. We have to ensure that politicians, when they are elected in office, that they conduct themselves according to the principles that is set out in that sacred document. Ladies and gentlemen, not only the Prime Minister compromises our democracy, but we have a president who just not too long ago was a judge, a president who have taught constitutional proceedings. And when you have a president who understands what is needed in order to protect the Constitution, a president who understands without a shadow of a doubt, and yet allow a Prime Minister, whether it is because of friend or whether it is because of college, but you cannot allow a president who have compromised our democracy, A president who was charged with the responsibility to protect that sacred document. And today, in the office of the president, we continue to allow this type of behavior to exist. Ladies and gentlemen, we have seen not only by the Prime Minister and the President, but we have seen a bunch of individuals who are charged with a responsibility to be the checks and balance in our country. A group of individuals who wears the name of independent senators. And these independent senators, ladies and gentlemen, they are within the parliamentary realm as our checks and balances to ensure that the policies that comes to the parliament, it's policies that will defend not only the democracy, but defend you and protect you as the citizens of this country. We have seen that this institution, that they are also compromised with political interference. We have a senator by the name of Vera. I believe that he should have a PNM party card. And the reason I believe that Senator Vera should have a PNM party card is simply because, in my opinion, the way he conducts himself in the parliament, it seems as though that he is more a PNM than an independent. And this is what we continue to experience. We have a speaker. The Speaker of the House ought to be the referee in the parliament. The Speaker of the House ought to conduct herself in this case as one who will look after the interests not of the PNM but the interests of the people of this country. But today in our parliament, we are also seeing that the Speaker, who ought to be fair, who ought to be the judge, who ought to ensure that your democracy, that is protected. We have seen the Speaker, she also takes a position that it seems as though she is only the referee and the defender of the PNM. As a footballer, ladies and gentlemen, when I used to play with Point Fortin Civic Center, I remember sometimes we have a side 6-0, 7-0, and I will look for a good forward on the opposite side and roll a ball to take a shot. And when I roll that ball for that forward to take that shot, I used to make sure that I am in a position to defend our goal. You see, the Speaker of the House, her job is a defender. She, a matter of fact, ought to be the goalkeeper. And she ought to be the goalkeeper, not for the PNM, not for the UNC, but she ought to be the goalkeeper to protect your rights. We have seen, ladies and gentlemen, that the Speaker continue to muzzle the mouth of the opposition. Those individuals that you have elected to look after your welfare in our parliament. That parliament is not the parliament of the PNM. That parliament is the parliament of the people. And when you elect your member of parliament, your member of parliament ought to have the right to represent you in that parliament according to the Constitution. But we have seen a sort of behavior, not only dictatorial in nature, but we have seen a behavior where the PNM bench, the government bench, the independent senators, the Speaker of the House, and the whole team, they are there to do exactly what the Prime Minister wants them to do. So where would that leave you? And where would that leave me? So I will tell you that, ladies and gentlemen, leave us in a position that each and every single one of us have to stand together with the member that you elect, your member of parliament, your MP. Each and every one of us have to stand alongside your member of parliament and demand justice, fairness, and equity in this country. You see, everything in this country comes with a price. Democracy, when you look at democracy from the ancient times, you will realize that men and women lose their life to fight to bring about democracy in any given nation. You have to go back, look at your history, look at the depths where democracy came from, and for you to understand how precious our democracy must remain, you have to go back there and see the pain, the blood, the sweat, and the tears that our ancestors stood up and fight that battle to ensure that you and I today can live in this democratic process. When we sit idly by and we allow a prime minister who sits in the chair, and when that individual wake up on a morning, he consults with himself, he decides by himself, and when he concludes, he comes and he summons his pawns, those around him, and he instructs them that this is what would happen from tomorrow. This is what they put in place. And when they put it in place, they comes to the parliament. And when you would expect that when they reach to the parliament, it is the place where this debate, this dialogue will take place. And if it is something that is not in the interest of the people and the country, it would be struck out, only to realize, because of the friends and connection of the Prime Minister, whatever he say goes. We have seen a bunch of PNM MPs, individuals who we believe came out from a certain background of knowledge. We have seen individuals like Beckers and Manning, who in my opinion, I believe that they came from a different cloth. But when you look at what is existing, you will realize that the Prime Minister is one of the best tailor. He could take any kind of cloth and make a suit to suit him. And today, ladies and gentlemen, when we would expect that those who we believe came from a certain cloth would have stand up to defend democracy I remember Keith Rowley stood up against Patrick Manning. All I remember the Calderheart issue. And Keith Rowley stood up against Manning at that time. And when Keith Rowley stood up against Patrick Manning, Manning was forced to call an election. You see, notwithstanding, Manning was just asking, where the 10 million gone? All you remember that? Manning was just asking that question. Manning was also instrumental in causing an investigation into the Landate affair. All you remember that? But yet still, Keith Rowley stood up and he said that he stood up against corruption. Well, if Keith Rowley stood up against corruption back then, I would have expected that a few of the MPs on the government bench, that they would have taken an example from Keith Rowley back then and stand up now. Because today, ladies and gentlemen, we are now experiencing the worst level of corruption in the history of politics in our Trinidad and Tobago. You know what is sad about that? There are a collective few, a selective few, who continue to benefit with millions upon millions of your dollars. And I'll tell you where I'm going just now. They continue to benefit with million upon million of your dollars. Added to that, they have hijacked the procurement legislation. And when they hijack the procurement legislation, it was simply the highway to steal, to thief, to rob, and to do whatever they want. I would have expected that you the people, and when I say you the people, you see today, I'm talking to all UNC supporters, every single one. I would have expected that we, as the supporters of the UNC, we who elected members of parliament to stand for us, I would have expected that all of us, every single one of us, would have stand up against this lying, thieving, wicked government that they call the PNM, and demand that this PNM go. As a people, ladies and gentlemen, as citizens of this country, we have to understand that the Constitution gives us some rights. When you examine Section 4 of the Constitution, it gives you some rights. And tonight, this afternoon, I want to ask you to defend that right that Section 4 of the Constitution gives to you, the people of this country. We can no longer sit down. We can no longer stand idly by and see the future of this country go down the drain. The future which entails your children and my children, because of the behavior of this government. We can no longer sit idly by and allow this Keith Rowley administration to do as it please in this country. I am saying enough is enough. We have some MPs who stand their ground on every occasion. These MPs, ladies and gentlemen, they cannot fight and win the battle by themselves. These MPs, ladies and gentlemen, who continue to research, to examine, and to bring to the table defense to what Keith Rowley government is doing to you, the people, they cannot do it by themselves. Each and every one of us have that responsibility. We must stand up, people. We have to grow some fortitude. We have to put fire, in the local terms, in we belly. We had to put fire in we belly. Because when you're dealing with the devil, you have to understand that the devil is an individual. It is only fire could really deal with that devil that we're dealing with today. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are to examine what is happening, you could never be satisfied today. You could never be satisfied with what is happening in our country. You the people, I am urging you to take a stand to defend your country. You have to take that stand, and you have to take it now. If you allow what is happening, what is passing for governance to continue, I am saying to you that 2025, we might as well sit down and let the Keith Rowley administration continue, because there would not be anything to administrate. That is where we're heading. This government, ladies and gentlemen, it is a government that have no respect whatsoever for law and order. And if you, as citizens, recognize what is happening, then what is the key back from you and I and Jeffrey and others to stand with our MPs and ensure that this government call election? We have to ensure that this government calls election. We have to put enough pressure on this government. We have to stand up and fight this government every inch of the way. Because this government, ladies and gentlemen, this government brings nothing to the table than destruction, not only to you who is sitting here today, but to your children and grandchildren. They will feel the effects of the behavior of this Keith Rowley administration. They are the ones who will suffer. They are the ones. We have to put our foot down. Put your foot down. This is the time. We have seen over this past few months, ministers, well, don't talk about the Alsing. Forget, let me talk about the Alsing at all. Forget about the Alsing. You see? Forget about it. But we have seen, ladies and gentlemen, every minister, Fitzgerald Hines, Stuart Young, Alwari, Mbot. Yeah, I like to call him Mbot. Mbot. Every individual, every one of them, we have seen failure upon failure. Alwari, well, poor fella. Poor fella. But let me tell you something. If we ain't do what we have to do, I am telling you, ladies and gentlemen, this country is heading for serious disaster. serious disaster. We are heading down a road today. And that road that we heading, ladies and gentlemen, it is a road that only spells disaster. Look what is happening among us. Every day, some serious mishap. Every day, somebody losing their lives according to gun violence. Every day, problem and more problem. We have a national security minister who is one of the world's greatest failure. A matter of fact, the poor fella, the man didn't even understand what is his responsibility. He don't even know what is his role. We have our Attorney General. Every case down the drain. We have our next one they call Stuart Young, the excuse maker. Everything happens, Stuart have an excuse. How long would we continue, people? How long would we continue? This is not a game. Election have serious consequences. And when we, as a people, sit idly by and allow what is happening to take place, it is something that comes to you in small dosage. It is like a medicine. Dictatorship is like a medicine. It comes to you in small doses. But when it enters that bloodstream, you just cannot remove it. And every day, ladies and gentlemen, we are edging closer and closer and closer. And we are heading there without any regards by the one who is charged with the responsibility. And as it continues to impact our lives on a daily basis, what is happening with us is that we ourselves, we are getting more and more comfortable with the behavior, the dictatorial behavior that is now being introduced to us. That when the time reach, ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing you can do to fix the problem. How much dosage have you already received? From COVID-19, from 2020 coming up the road, how many dosage have you received? Look at something. Let me use an analysis. Under the pandemic, when they brought about the curfew and the state of emergency, when the first month passed, people started to make noise. They extended this thing again. Noise. When the first week in the second month came, everybody started to adjust. They started to adjust to suit it. Then the second week came. The third week came. And it keep running. And everybody get accustomed. They get comfortable with that 3 months. And here it rule. You see dictatorship? It is the same way it affects you. When they bring it in small doses, you the people complain a little bit. And they give you a next dose, you complain. By the time you get the third dose, you start to get comfortable. And then the police start to tell you, you can't protest. And you can't stand with a placard. And you start to rebel. And they raft 2 or 3. And then you start to withdraw. Very soon, nobody with a placard. And they're edging it. And they're telling you now, one man can't stand up without getting permission from the PNM, acting police commissioner. And then
when you catch yourself, nobody standing up. And when you do realize what is happening is that the government continue to move in and do whatever they want. And you and I, we sit in our home, we talk, we go on social media, we text, and that is as far as we will go. This is something that we have to nip in the bud now. We have to nip that behavior in the bud. Because if we ain't nip it in the bud, what will eventually happen is that all of us will be sitting in our homes just complaining about Rowley and Hines and Imbut and Stuart Young, and just complaining and complaining. But while we complaining, you know what happening? The treasury draining. So we just complaining and complaining, and the wealth of the country filtering down in some folks' pocket. But all we doing is complaining, taking up this, and we texting, and that is as far as we go. That, ladies and gentlemen, is where the danger lies. We have to be vocal. We have to stand up. We have to demand. This, ladies and gentlemen, it is no more about you being timid and sitting down and accepting what this government giving you, and you just sitting and saying, we can't do nothing. What we gonna do? That is the cry on social media. Victor Roberts, what we gonna do? Anil Roberts, what we gonna do? We can't do nothing. The police, and we can't protest, and the police, and this and that, and we becoming a bunch of can't do nothing people, while the government drain the wealth, the resources of this country. Not would it only affects you, but it will affect your children and grandchildren. And we will still stand up, and we will still sit down, and all we will say is we can't do nothing. That is all we doing. Nothing. And every Monday morning, we blame the MP, we blame Kamala, we blame this one. But nobody wants to blame the self. Nobody blaming the self. You understand? We're not blaming ourselves. We have to stand up, people. We have to demand. We have to fight for our freedom, our justice, and our constitutional rights. We have to do it. Don't expect Grenada to come and do it for us. Don't expect St. Vincent to come and do it for us. We have to do it for ourselves. We have to stand up. It is not all same old, same old. We have to stand up, and we have to hold the bull by the nose. You can't control this raging bull by the horn. You have to hold him by the nose. And when you hold the bull by the nose, then you have control of the bull. We have to stand. I urge you to stand. You have to stand up. This is not about watching the 19 MPs and feel that they have to make themselves a sacrifice for you. All of us, they have to sacrifice, but we have to also sacrifice with them. We have to sacrifice with them. We have to stand up and be the prop for our MPs. When our MPs call, we must answer. When they call, we must be there. This is freedom. This is democracy. And this is something that you have to contribute to ensure that that it remain intact in our country. Because if you allow this madman prime minister that we have in this country, I am saying before long, you people who believe that you have some savings, it will dwindle away. You people who believe that you are comfortable, very soon the criminals in this country will make you uncomfortable. So we have to stand together and we have to ensure that collectively we remove this government out of office. And that is what it must be. That is what it have to be. Ready? All right, so ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we will be moving straight into TNT Speaks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. It is 7 p.m. on the dot, and the United National Congress, we start on time. Please be upstanding for the national anthem of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you. Please remain standing. As before we say a word of prayer, we want to keep in mind As we say rest in peace to the citizens, the divers who unfortunately lost their lives over the weekend. Faisal Kurban, Kazim Ali Jr., Rishi Nagasa, Yusuf Henry. May they rest in peace as we stand for a moment of silence. Thank you very much. I now invite three constituents, members of the constituency and the United National Congress. Could our councillors please take the head table as we begin with a word of prayer. So I invite Pandit Vishesh Gas,
Let's all clasp our hands, bow our heads. As we pray, O Lord, as we are about to commence this evening's meeting, may our discussions and deliberations be fruitful from all incidents and accidents, and may success be our lot. O Lord, as we pray, may the message resonating from our respected and esteemed speakers bring clarification and enlightenment to all that is happening in our country. O Lord, do shower your blessings on this noble assembly this evening. In your most holy name, we offer this prayer. Harihi Om Gananam Tva Ganapati Gum Havamahe Priyanam Tva Priyapati Gum Havamahe Nidhinam Tva Nidhipati Gum Havamahe Vasu Mama Aham Jani Garbadama Tvam Jasi Garbadama Om Bhadram Karne Vishnuyam Deva Bhadram Pashyamakshvidajatah Stirangaistushtvagum Sastanubhed Veshmai Devahitam Yarayu Om Asatoma Sargamya Tamsoma Jyotirgamya Mrityurma Amritam Gamya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
thank you. We now have Pastor Dwayne Prasad.
Let's just close our eyes. Heavenly Father, we thank you this evening that we have gathered this evening under the banner TNT Speaks this evening, Lord Father. Father, this evening I pray firstly that you bless our political leader, Lord Father. Give us strength and courage, Lord Father, and every member of Parliament in our cabinet, O Lord. I pray that you bless everyone involved in the politics, Lord Father. I pray, Heavenly Father, that all that is to be discussed and done this evening, Lord Father, that it will bring fruitfulness, it will bring knowledge, it will bring betterment to our country, to our fellow men, Lord Father. I pray that you bless this evening proceedings, Lord Father, and all that is be done. In Jesus' precious name we pray with thanksgiving. Amen.
And now we bring Imam Rashid Karim.
Let us all join together with our hearts, our hands. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladhina anamta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. اللهم صل على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب وشفينا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Almighty Lord, Lord of the worlds, most gracious, most merciful, Master of the day of judgment, Thee do we worship and Thine aid do we seek. Guide us on the straight path, the path that You have chosen for us. Protect us from our anomalies and our mistakes and our errors. Guide our hearts, our mind, our bodies, our soul to that spiritual awareness that we would understand what is right and what is wrong and act upon it. I say this prayers especially for those divers. Qalu inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Verily from Allah we came, and to Allah is our eventual return. Allahumma ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. O most gracious one, O guide of hearts, guide our hearts to Your remembrance and forgive us for all our trespasses and our errors. We ask Thee that You bless our gathering, protect us, grant us goodness in this life and goodness in the hereafter, and save us from all torments. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wassalamun alal mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Birahmatika ya arrahma rahimin. Amin.
Thank you. Please be seated. Member of Parliament Dinesh Rambali, all councillors, members of the National Executive of the United National Congress, the leader of the UNC, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa, Member of Parliament for Siparia, and all UNC faithful and all right-thinking citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, good evening. There is a darkness over our country, an inexplicable darkness that is bringing pain, bringing tears of mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers. Every aspect of life in Trinidad and Tobago has been covered with a suffocating smoke that is taking the light and the life out of our beloved country. This darkness has begun since a man who was determined to lie his way into office, who a man of low character, who at every stage of his political career set his sights on individuals and on power, and he would not stop. He would do anything to reach where he has reached. He once boasted about delving into dark arts in Lake Oto and putting a spirit lash on a former prime minister. It appears that some deal that was made with the dark forces has come to cloud our country. And that's why we begin tonight with prayers of all religions, prayers of all the people of Trinidad and Tobago, be you Christian, Hindu, Muslim, Baptist, Orisha, be you Rastafarian, you must all pray for our country to be delivered from the evil that is oppressing us. People are dying in fires. People are being found at the bottom of the ocean in pickup trucks. Divers being choked to death without a movement from a government that is heartless. So I say to you, Trinidad and Tobago, all of you, those of you who can pray, pray. Those of you like me who do not pray much, start to pray, because our country needs to get a light. The light of the rising sun must ignite the hope of our people. As we begin today, I'm coming to introduce to you a young light, a young man who's been serving the people of Monroe Road and Caroni Savannah, who takes pleasure in serving the people, just as the major MPs who are here, as we say good evening to the member for Couva South, Rujanat Indarsing. We say good evening to the member for Mayaro, Rushton Parry. We say good evening to the member of Parliament for Naparima, the Honorable Rodney Charles. As I bring to the podium a young man who serves the people in the vein of those in the United National Congress. Put people first, put God in front, and serve. Please welcome Mr. Adrian Ali.
Nice small thing. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Senator Anil Roberts. Honorable political leader, MPs, senators, councillors, Chairman of the Chaguanas West Executive and the executive members, and to you most importantly, my dear UNC, friends and family, a pleasant good night to each and every one. I would like to express my deepest condolences to the family and friends of the 4 divers who unfortunately lost their lives. And in Islam, as we say it, as Imam said it earlier, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. May the Almighty ease the pain and suffering for these family and loved ones. I'm sure all of you here tonight can agree with me completely when I say the only thing consistent with this PNM government is incompetence and inability to perform. This situation is made evident with our daily depressing news headlines. The PNM government has failed the people of Trinidad and Tobago and failed miserably. This is a government that clearly has no foresight and lacks vision with leadership. Without any hesitation, the PNM government has failed in every aspect of operation of this country. Failure with the economy, crime, sports, tourism, education, I can go on and on. Councillors of the Chaguanas Borough Corporation are being brutally criticized for not being able to perform their duties effectively due to a lack of funding from central government. This has been the situation for the past 2 years. Trinidad has become a pothole republic under Ruhan Sinanan, and I'm sure all of you can agree here tonight, all the viewers as well. I've made requests at monthly coordinated meetings at the CBC, only to be told the ministry has no materials, or the plant is down, or they have no equipment. I've written to the minister on a number of occasions making requests. Again, big boy Ruhan, he don't respond to anyone. The maintenance of drainage and infrastructure, which falls under the purview of the Ministry of Works and Transport, is being neglected. Citizens continue to plead for drains and waterways to be clean. It's simple. If you cannot do your job and the work of the people, just resign. Get out of office. The tax-paying burgesses of Mono Road, Carney, Savannah, and by extension Chaguanas, continue to face the mechanic on a regular basis due to the poor conditions of the nation's roads. Due to the severity of the situation, I've taken the initiative to engage some businesses within the electoral district of Mono Road, Carney, Savannah, and I must say thanks to them tonight, because thus far they have spent over $50,000 in purchasing materials to bring ease to you, the burgesses. Since the onset of COVID-19, a number of families have been placed on the breadline. They continue to struggle to put food on their table and are still awaiting grants that they have applied for almost 2 years. Thankfully, I've been able again to engage a number of the businesses. I must say thanks to the supermarkets within the area who have donated over $40,000 in relief vouchers. And a number of my burgesses, they benefit from this on a monthly basis. Through my office, I've also been able to distribute 20 tablets thus far to kids, thankfully to the mayor and the members of the Chaguanas Borough Council as well. But I'd like to bring to your attention here tonight a very important point. Thus far, the CBC have received $0, that is $0, in releases out of an allocation of $797,200 for the maintenance of vehicles. Do you know what that means for you, the burgesses, if we cannot maintain the vehicles? That means when you call for a mini excavator to clean an outfall drain, we will not be able to do it. When you call for roads to be repaired and you ask for equipment, the equipment may not be able to go out onto the roadway. Right? Thankfully, again, we are using funding that we get from the market in order to maintain some of these vehicles. At least 5 requests were made on an urgent basis and also on a quarterly basis to the necessary ministry with no response thus far. no releases received. The crime rate continues to climb, with the murder toll at the moment being 90 for only the first 2 months of the year, putting us on track for one of the bloodiest years under a Minister of National Security who has made it clear that his duty is not to ensure the safety and security of you, the people. The citizens of this country continue to be traumatized, and our society is riddled with criminal elements. Over the last few years, I've been able to set up 12 community watch groups and WhatsApp chats, which have been utilized to combat crime within the area. The situation has become one that is morbid and continues to worsen with extended lack of funding. Burgesses are misled into thinking the councillors are refusing to perform their duties when the government is at fault for not releasing funds to allow them to do their jobs. I'm calling on the government to release the funding to the Chaguanas West Corporation so that councillors can perform the duties that they have so rightfully been elected to do. It is no secret that Trinidad and Tobago is currently in a state of deep economic and social crisis. It is also clear that timely and decisive action by the government and by all our stakeholders is needed to pull the country back from the brink. My friends, I know that you all can appreciate the seriousness of our circumstances and understand that urgent measures must be prioritized because we all have been affected one way or another. It is therefore in the country's best interest to see under the leadership of the Honorable Political Leader, Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessa. Under her leadership, our dear political leader, we have seen a number of young councillors, senators, MPs, been given the opportunity to serve and to stand up to those wicked this wicked PNM government. As the leader, she believes in the younger ones being the future of the party. I'm forever grateful for the opportunity to serve and make a difference within my community. Long live our leader, long live UNC. God bless. Thank you.
Yes, man, roll it up, man, don't be frightened. We need music, we need culture. We need to remove the spirit of evil from Trinidad and Tobago. Make some noise for our councillor, Adrian Ali, as we welcome the General Secretary of the United National Congress, Mr. Peter Kanai. Also, the PRO, Dr. Kirk Megu. Good evening. Moving right along, I bring the next speaker, the councillor for Kelly Village, Warrenville, in the Tunapuna Piarco Regional Corporation. He's a man after my own heart, a sport lover, a patriot, a man who's been serving the people for over 16 years. He's a sports tourism specialist, and he will make the use of the facilities produced and built by the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessa, the Aquatic Center, the Cycling Velodrome, and the Tennis Center. Bring into the microphone Mr. Samuel Sanka.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman Anil Roberts, the Honorable Senator, ladies and gentlemen, to all our colleagues, Member of Parliament, or General Secretaries, or parliamentarians, councillors, activists, members of NATEC, our esteemed political leader, and Dr. Kate Mayhew, our Public Relations Officer. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, welcome to Mono Road. This is Mono Road Cricket Ground, the home of the Super Sixes, the home of one of the best tournaments this country has ever produced in cricket. And I want to thank the former Minister of Sport, Anil Roberts, right in this field and this pavilion to the back of you. We were able to see the biggest and largest purse prize in football and sport. I thank you, Minister, and for supporting this. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. When you come to Chaguanas West, when you come here, we could talk about religious tolerance. To our right, you have a masjid, bounded by a government school with a next early childhood center. Then you have a Christian church, and then you have a mandir. And so that is reflected in our multiculturalism or plurality of this society. Chaguanas West, if you get into Caroni Village, Frederick Settlement, which is known as Harlem, you see a Presbyterian school, a Presbyterian church, the diocese of the Catholic institution. When you turn the corner, you see a Hindu temple, a Baptist church, and that is what we do in Chaguanas West. I just want to share with you, given the time that we have here, brothers and sisters, this is who we are. We cannot be divided by politicians who are in government, who want to divide and rule this country. When you look at what we have produced, my task is a simple one this evening. Task meaning tourism, T for tourism, A for agriculture, S for sport, and K for Kamla, and that is all being done in kindness. So I just want to share with us tourism. We talk about tourism, and which has the largest potential. Anil spoke about sport tourism, a man after his own heart, but he had the vision through Kamla and the People's Partnership to produce some of the world's best. When we spoke with Canada, they said that the cycling velodrome in Vancouver is better than theirs, and that's a first world country. And there it is. We have the capital of sport tourism, Destination Vancouver. But I look at it in the context of Chaguanas West. Right here, we have hosted the largest Super Sixes tournament, first of its kind in the region, in Trinidad. Richard Ramke soon come and win everything out. But thanks again, we were able, young Adrian Ali played in this tournament. And so it is, brothers and sisters, we could bring that to domestic soil, on local soil, train young people and develop it into Chaguanas West. We need to produce a national athlete within the next 4 years. Simple as that. And so, brothers and sisters, tourism, T for tourism. The average sport tourist spend $138 based on empirical research that we were able to produce, which is more than oil prices. Oil prices doing $100 because of a war. But here you have it. They have not developed it because Anil produced it, because AMLA produced a sport tourism. We were able to produce a policy. They cannot execute. All they're doing is killing people. And that's where we are today. Dark tourism, that is what this government is about. Dark tourism is where people go and visit sites for genocide. People have died because they have been exploited and death. But this government wouldn't develop tourism where people could come and visit us, where they could spend food, fun, family, and festivals. But they don't understand that dynamic. Festivals is the key. How do we do it? If you're going to Chaguanas West, you could look at some of the festivals that they have produced. And so that you could increase visitors' arrival. I go to agriculture. I want to recognize the president of the Agriculture Society here tonight. And so, as we continue within the electoral district of Kelly Village, Warrenville, we have produced the first of its kind, a corn festival, and that would help us to reduce and improve food security. We could put food on our tables. We could secure, and every household could grow their own food, eat what you grow. And that is aligned to what? The third SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, Vision 2030. And that, what does that mean? Good health and well-being. That is our wish for the people for Chaguanas West. And so we continue, brothers and sisters. Agriculture, yes, grow your food, healthy lifestyle, potable water, create employment. That is what we seek to do. Task, tourism, agriculture. And we come to sport. Sport, talking is a world sport. All I have to say is Anil Roberts. Talk done. Put your hands together for Anil. Anil has been doubles and coffee, but tonight you want to share about Sanka coffee. We go in the doubles man on the corner there. But sport and tourism, they go hand in hand. Sport tourism is the largest phenomenon. It's a $65 billion US industry. And so, brothers and sisters, if you could target that, it's a specialized training facility, you know. There's not for rump and skin. You get into the facilities that Anil built through the People's Partnership. Bold vision, big and huge, where we could develop young athletes. Look what is happening out in the Olympics. Look where we are. Look what the condition of football. Look where cricket reached. But I'm telling us that tonight that we can develop sport into efforts, create employment, sustainable employment, so that we could produce young athletes, reduce obesity, we could reduce all the diabetes and comorbidities, and so through sport, we could live sustainable lifestyle. Brothers and sisters, I just spoke about religious tolerance. I need to stop now until that president. And we observe this on this ground. Check. Thank you very much. And brothers and sisters, we just want to wind it up here and let you know that K is for Kamla. K is for kindness. K will continue to serve kindness, serve the people, serve the people, serve the people. TAS, tourism, agriculture, sport, and kindness. I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Councillor Samuel Sanka. Salamu alaikum. It's as if we are being blessed from this point forward, Trinidad and Tobago, as we have decided that good will overcome evil. We welcome the Deputy Political Leader of the United National Congress, the Honorable Senator Jerlene John. Our next speaker, a councillor from St. Augustine South, Piarco, St. Helena. He has been serving his district with distinction and immense passion, an educator by profession. And this is his first term as a councillor. Let's welcome the resourceful, the reliable Councillor Richard Rampasad.
Thank you, Senator Roberts. Honorable Political Leader, Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, MPs, Senators, members of the National Executive, my fellow councillors, and to the thousands of you locked on remotely in your respective locations, I say pleasant good evening. Thank you to my colleagues, fellow councillors who spoke before me. I bring greetings on behalf of my burgesses of the electoral district of St. Augustine, South Piarco, St. Helena. This is the district I represent, and one faction of this district is the Chaguanas West constituency. There are several issues that I wish to address and highlight and bring to the fore as it relates specifically to my burgesses in the Caroni. Now, the Caroni faction is the Chaguanas West area of my electoral district. Immediately diving into my presentation, I begin with a rhetorical question. Are we not in the dry season? Yes, we are. Now, if we are in the dry season, doesn't the Ministry of Works and Transportation have a responsibility where our major water courses are concerned? Especially in the community of Caroni. Now, as we would know, the nature of Caroni is situated in what we call quote-unquote a flood plain. And as such, one would hope and one would think that the Ministry of Works would naturally have a responsibility to treat with what could possibly be a flooding in this community. Now, I always encourage the outlook to be one of being proactive rather than reactive. And we must be prepared for emergencies because climate change is causing unprecedented changes in the weather pattern. We all know what is expected of us. However, it's not only about us. Our government has a responsibility to assist us and to produce mechanism and flood mitigation efforts to prevent the likelihood of flooding. In 2018, we would have seen one of the worst flooding in this community of Caroni. But are they really doing anything? The answer is a resounding no. Rivers must be dredged to avoid the overflowing of banks during the flooding. And the dry season is a critical time to embark on such dredging work. But have you seen any of this action taking place? Again, the answer is a resounding no. We have the Caroni River in dire need of dredging. Several parts of the embankment need some restructuring and some work. As your dutiful councillor, I've tried my best to make contact with the minister in this ministry, as well as the drainage superintendent and the drainage supervisor for the central area. However, they would have conducted some site visits, but no substantial work has been conducted to date. Everything is a temporary quick fix, and in some instances, not even that. And you know what? Even when they do the site visit and they promise to get things done, they give you a deadline, they give you a timeline, nothing happens. You call back, that's it. No response, no answers. This is a very heartbreaking and emotional, it's a traumatic thing for the residents because the slightest amount of rain brings back the 2018 scenario of severe flooding in an entire community. We still have persons waiting to get their grants, their flood grants for the damages that this flooding was caused in places such as Caroni, St. Helena, Oropun, and Piarco. Another area I wish to touch on is the state of the community centers in my electoral district. Now, the community centers falls solely under the Ministry of Sport and Community Development, of which Ms. Shamfa Kujo is the line minister for that ministry. Now, there are two major community centers in my district of Caroni. There's one in Caroni Village and there's one in Lapai Village. And these centers are an eyesore. Oftentimes, I would assign my WACA team to go and do some work on the fields, on the grounds of these savannas. But there are major infrastructural work to take place in these spaces. Now, you all would know the community center operates as a communal space for people to come together, share ideas. It's a base. In some instances, it could serve as a shelter. But it's reached a stage where you can't even gain access into it because the imposing grass, the rodents, the building is literally in a state of complete disrepair. So tonight, I'm making a clarion call for the minister in this ministry to intervene and treat with this problem. I hope someday that the people of Carney will also experience the grand opening of perhaps a new community center, refurbishment to the existing one, or even a swimming pool with the same media attention that was received in some other areas. You know, you wonder if it's what? Geographic discrimination, political discrimination? What really is it? Does the residents of my electoral district doesn't deserve piece of the national pie? My brothers and sisters, as I close, I'm thanking all of you for viewing and sharing this live stream. Your MPs and councillors would remain loyal, they would remain passionate about service to you, and we will ensure that you get the representation that you deserve. Thank you for your time, thank you for coming out here, and have a good one. Okay.
Tassa, tassa. All you just move on time. We like the tassa. We need the rhythm. I can talk over the tassa. All you play. Only there are no kangaroo here, you know. So all you play, we go talk loud. As we say, a special good evening. We also have councillors in the house. We have the councillor for Cure Page, Welfare Officer of the National Women's Arm and Vice Chairman of the St. Joseph Constituency Executive, Councillor Jaylin Rupnarayan is here. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce one of the hardest working politicians in Trinidad and Tobago, a young man who never stops working. Resources, no resources, PNM stifling his work, he does not stop. A brilliant young man. And some of your ladies may find he look good. He is no 80 wagon. He is a 4x4 bringing to the lectern Councillor Amit Suknanan.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to everybody in the UNC family tonight. Make some noise for yourself. We are UNC and we are proud. I must say that it feels great. It feels fantastic. It feels awesome to get an introduction like that from my goodly senator, our coordinator, Arnold Roberts. Give him a round of applause, please. And it feels even better to be outside here in physical form of meeting and greeting with you, the long-lasting members of the United National Congress. You are the foundation of this party. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, I must pay my utmost gratitude to my most hard-working, heartwarming political leader, the Honorable Kamala Prasad-Bissessar. Thank you for giving me this opportunity for a second term to serve under the Rising Sun emblem and to fly our flag at high mast only. All other protocols observed. Our colleagues here this evening, MPs, senators, our mayor, deputy mayor, the Chaguanas West executive, and our members. I have a responsibility to speak on behalf of the people that I represent and nationally. Ladies and gentlemen, there's something that bothers me and I must address. And thankfully, through MP Rambali, I have the opportunity to share with you on this national stage today. Recently, Clarence Rambert said in the Senate that Venezuelans saved agriculture in this country. I have a problem with that. Farmers today felt that slap. In fact, I felt that slap for 4 generations down. From my great-grandfather, my grandfather, my father, and now me. All families of agriculture in this country. It is said that if you don't know where you come from, then you won't know where you're going. And if you don't know where you're going, then any route will take you there. You, however, Clarence, have chosen the only dead-end road there is in this country, and that is the road of the People's National Movement. Let me remind you of your history that you don't know. For over 170 years, agriculture has held this country high and together, propping the kitchens of our citizens, and you totally disregard paying gratitude to our forefathers and their hard work, the men and women that toil on our land daily. You blatantly disregard our hard-working farmers from Paramin to Toko and from Maracas to Cedros. You should stop celebrating independence with us if you don't care of your history. You know, if only Raul used to take him to his meetings with Maduro, he probably would have celebrated independence in Venezuela as well. For too long, you have neglected farmers in this country, Clarence Rambarat. Farmers are waiting for more than 3 years for the flood relief grants. As we speak, there are dilapidated floodgates and broken pumps in our areas that we represent. There's predial larceny. There's crime for hard-working farmers, people stealing their crops. They're working so hard under the sun, and in the nighttime they move like thieves in the night and steal their hard work. And the only man that used to work and fight crime in this country, this PNM government, take him out, either through an act of democracy or through an act of dictatorship. You choose. Ladies and gentlemen, water courses stifling for water. Even in the pipelines, let me tell you, in this country we don't have water pressure, you know. We have pressure for water in this country. Minister Marvin Gonzalez, water leaks all over the place. I want to ask the question, what is the price per gallon for pipe-borne water that is processed using taxpayers' money, and who pays for the wastage? In every one of your area, you could pinpoint a water leak, and that falls firmly under the Minister of Public Utilities, Marvin Gonzalez. WASA is a government agency, one that you pay to process water. Think about it. When you pass over, regardless if you're walking down the road or you're driving down the road, and you cross a water leak, that is your money wasting. Are we pleased with that? WASA now recently want to put a ban on usages of hoses. This government is so accustomed blaming the people of this country one way or the other. If the water ain't reaching the pipes, how is it going to reach the hose? Ladies and gentlemen, all you see the sense and the nonsense in politics today, in this PNM government, if the water ain't reaching the pipes, how is it going to reach the hose? The mismanagement of this country has been going on for way too long, and enough is enough. This power outage that we had recently wasn't no ordinary blackout, you know. Everybody here holds a device in your hand. And let me tell you, that when there's a malfunction, there's something called factory reset. And this country was mismanaged so much by this government that was forced under malfunction of this government to factory reset this country. It wasn't no normal blackout, it wasn't no normal outage, it was a factory reset for Trinidad and Tobago. But the horror continues. Clarence, this next one is my favorite. On the night of the outage, Clarence Afterbirth Avinash Singh jumped out that night with his stupidity putting on social media that he don't mean to rub it in, but he was showing off with his solar systems, the new toys that he got for this last Christmas 2021. What about, being a member of this government? It is so inconsiderate of you to not seek the interests of the people in a pandemic. People are on life support, and this is the extreme I'm going to go. People are on life support, and their lives depended on electricity that night. But you posting up your toys on Facebook, you don't have time to try and help nobody in a blackout. because you are less care in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm bringing my contribution to close. But I want to say that this country needs a caretaker, a mother filled with love, care, and compassion, and a vision for her children. One as none other but the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa. If the PNM could call Eric Williams their father of this nation, I am saying it tonight and put it on record that Kamla Prasad Bisesa is the mother of this nation. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring it to close. But I want you to know that when you see this face, you know Terrence's name going to call. But Terrence are coming for you in St. Joseph. And this blessed platform will be coming to St. Joseph. And I will deal with you home where you and I live, where was once a heaven, and you'll make it hell for the people in St. Joseph. I come in to deal with you, Terrence. I will deal with you. Ladies and gentlemen, in closing, I ask of you to come together as brothers and sisters and remove this wicked government. Let's restore our paradise and our twin island state. It is said in our national anthem that every creed and race will find an equal place. And may God bless our nation. But if you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, don't put race, religion, and kind aside and come together as one people, as one nation, and every creed and race find an equal place, then God himself won't come. But there's one house in this country that welcomes every creed and race, and I say it openly, that house is the house of the rising sun, the house of the United National Congress, led by our political leader, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Nobody will attack her or move her once I am standing here today. I am one of her arm, and you are the other. Let's come together and remove this wicked government. Long live the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Long live our membership. Long live our senators, our MPs, our councillors, our hard-working activists. And I thank you very much for your time here this evening. God bless.
Amit Suknanan! Oh Lord! Tassa! Come down, come down! Come down, Tassa, come down! Because the man say, Amit Suknanan say, the water now in the pipe, how it go reach the hose? Don't worry, Amit. Rowley go carry it. Moving right along. Yeah, don't worry, when Rowley around, the hose must get water. Our next speaker, as I make a segue from Pekong to respect, the next speaker is a man who is well known across Trinidad and Tobago. He's a man who loves the people and lives his religious beliefs. He's a man who we can all be proud of. He's an imam from Felicity. He's the chairman of the IFSD. He's the chairman of UMA TNT, a businessman, an activist, a patriot. He's the Central Regional Coordinator of the United National Congress, a very strong supporter of all our people in Chaguanas West and across Trinidad and Tobago. Please welcome Imam Rashid Karim.
Thank you, Chairman, for that wonderful welcome. Full protocol to the head table. My beloved brothers and sisters who are in the gathering, a very, very huge gathering. And I want to say to those persons who are sitting here, you are really and truly a beautiful audience. Well kept, well mannered in the sense of COVID-19 protocols. It is fully observed at this gathering. My brothers and sisters, as Anil mentioned to you all, I really and truly have a lot of caps on my head. This is my topi. I have a lot of caps. Firstly, as a religious leader. Secondly, as a businessman. Thirdly, as an activist in our community. As a matter of fact, in the country of Trinidad and Tobago, I am a roving activist. My brothers and sisters, I want to let you all know that this country is bleeding. This country is crying out for help. This country needs you, the people, to stand up. If you and I don't stand up, my brothers and sisters, we are going to go down in the abysses. We are going down and down and down. And this government has no consideration. This government doesn't understand the plights of the people. People are suffering. The business community are reeling. My brothers and sisters, business are shutting down. Places of worship cannot even facilitate their own persons who pray in their temples, in their mandirs, in their mosques, simply because no allocations is given as tokens of appreciation from men of the cloth. My brothers and sisters, I want you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, to listen attentively. Change will only come when you and I, as a people, we stand up shoulder to shoulder, putting religion aside, and my brothers and sisters, unifying with one cause in mind, and that is to get rid of this PNM government. Why? My brothers and sisters, the PNM had 5 years. What did they do? Zero. My brothers and sisters, they got another 5 years. 2 have already completed. And what have they done for the people of Trinidad and Tobago? Nothing. And you know something, my brothers and sisters? I cannot understand this. No point in reality that this government that is in present power could have ever won this election without some sort of undermining the system. My brothers and sisters, I think the reason why this government doesn't understand how to run a country, and I believe that today I will give this government an insight on how to run this country. It is very, very simple, my brothers and sisters. There is only 4 rules that this government have to follow. Any lay person, any simple-minded citizen of this country could take up the mantle of leadership by following these 4 rules. Number 1, protection. The people of Trinidad and Tobago, all we are crying for, the business people want to be safe. The housewife, the mothers, the families want to be safe. And the government, all they have to do is put measures in place to protect the freedom of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And what are they doing, my brothers and sisters? They get a big, huge excuse for their failure, and that is COVID-19. That's number 1, protect. The second thing that this government have to do is to serve the people. Understand that. Serve the people who put you in government. Try to understand what the people needs. And try to eradicate, my brothers and sisters, this suffering. Dr. Keith Rowley, I know you are listening. Members of Parliament, members of ministerial positions, especially in the central arena, I know you guys are listening. Trinidad and Tobago is bleeding because you have wounded. You have caused the harm. You have caused the wound and blood to flow from this country. My friends, my brothers and sisters, number 2 was to protect. Number 3, a simple thing, you cannot do it, serve the country. Billions and billions and billions of dollars are spent. And my brothers and sisters, people are suffering for small things, water. This government have sold out our country. The resources of this country have been sold out by this government. And you and I, we are standing, my brothers and sisters, and we are not moving a finger to eradicate and to get rid of this PNM government. We are staying silent. And my message to you today, my brothers and sisters, is to understand these 4 things. The 4th one is investment. What has this government done as investment for the people of Trinidad and Tobago? What have they done? Have they invested in education? Have they invested in health? Have they invested in the economy? Have they invested in anywhere, my brothers and sisters? The only investment they could understand is to tax the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Property tax, green fund level, corporate tax, and you name it. I have 16 taxes on my brain right now that this government is utilizing to pressure and to bleed the nation, my brothers and sisters. Imagine this as I close. A place like Guyana, just next door, Guyana. They are becoming the Mecca of the Caribbean. Why? My brothers and sisters, because of good leadership, because of caring leadership, because of concerned leadership, and that is lacking under the PNM. Do you trust the PNM? Do you trust the PNM, my brothers and sisters? And I'm telling you, I don't trust the PNM. I have been asked on many occasions to cross the floor. And Imam Rashid Karim will stay for the people of Trinidad and Tobago to make sure, my brothers and sisters, you are well served. Make sure that I am the beacon with you people to make sure that you are served, my brothers and sisters. Imagine this as I close. You, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, I am calling on you, number one. I am calling on the politicians. Number two, the public servants. I am calling on the parents. I am calling on the housewives. I am calling on the students of Trinidad and Tobago to stand up, to join, to rally, to get rid of this non-performing PNM government. I thank you, God bless you, and may God bless our nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Imam Karim. A leader finds people in his or her own likeness. Keith Rowley is heartless. He's callous. He cares not about women and children. He cares not about the poor. He cares only about money and procuring without procurement. So he finds in his cabinet only those who are just like him. Whether it's Mascara Man, Small Pin, Convent Girl, Dwayne, all of them are the same heartless individual like the leader. On the other hand, you have Kamala Persad-Bissessar, a woman who loves children, loves women, loves single mothers, loves the poor, loves those most in need. And she brings people around her similar in vein, in heart, in soul, and in mind. The next speaker is in that same vein. Kamala Persad-Bissessar uplifts women of intelligence, brilliance, and strength, and gives them an opportunity to break glass ceiling after glass ceiling, as she herself has done. The Deputy Mayor of Chaguanas, Marissa V. Ramlogan, is an LLB graduate. She's the PRO of the UNC National Women's Arm. She's also the PRO of the Chaguanas West Constituency Executive and a woman's rights advocate. Please welcome Deputy Mayor, Her Worship, Marissa V. Ramlogan.
Thank you, Anil, for that very warm welcome, and thank you to that beautiful little girl who just presented me with that rose. Because we are here today fighting for little children like her, because that is the future of the nation. Honorable political leader, Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, members of parliament present and those looking online, senators, His Worship the Mayor, Faiq Mohammed, my fellow councillors, members of NATEX, and also the chairman of Chaguanas West constituency, good evening. Darkness is pervading our country. our communities. Citizens continue to be distressed, disheartened, depressed, and hopeless. Businesses continue to shut down. Economic activity is dwindling. But to this PNM government, and especially Keith Rowley, that is no big deal. This Rowley-led government came into office on lies. But not all of you were misled. Those in this crowd, I'm sure today, was not misled. And they continue to lie to the people of this country. You know, they say UNC spent out all the money. But you know what? In 5 years, the UNC, led by the honorable political leader, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, invested in people. She built schools. She built roads and drains throughout this country, not in one section of the society. She also provided laptops for children, just like that little girl. This is what Kamla did. Rowley and his band of misfits could find money to do everything under the sun, but not for you, the people. Rental money for little boy Blue, but none for you. Millions in rental. Chaguanas, are you going to accept that? No. The Minister of No Water and Blackouts, grinning while the citizens of this country was in darkness for an entire day. Is that something to laugh about? These people are not serious. Your taps are dry. I just left Asraf Road and the taps are dry. Charlieville taps are dry. Chaguanas West taps are dry. But do they find that important? No, they don't. They love this country in darkness. The Minister of National Security, never mind. Because I know the persons who are coming up after me will deal with Ethelbert Hines today, especially MP Rodney Charles. Local government. 2 words for you. Geographical discrimination. Don't be fooled by the numbers that, Imbert grin on national television, because what we are allocated and what we receive, which is our releases, is a vast difference. South of the Caroni Bridge does not deserve equity in state fundings according to this PNM-led government. According to them, you do not deserve proper roads and proper drains. According to them, and according to Keith Rowley, you deserve property tax. So when you pay your property tax in Chaguanas, his PNM friends, families, and financiers will be enjoying from the national treasury, all thanks to you, the citizens. For too long, Chaguanas has been tolerating the disrespect and disregard. Rowley felt he could treat us like outside children. But let me not say more on that, because I'm sure Anil will deal with that. Chaguanas deserves respect. We deserve equity in funding because Chaguanas is practically a city. I know Rowley don't like that because his interest only lies on the ladies of the nights in Chaguanas. But I am here to tell you, Rowley, Chaguanas says enough is enough. Time to stand up and get the wicked Rowley-led government out of office. Time for Kamla Persad-Bissessar to take her rightful place as the Prime Minister of this country. It's time for TNT to start working again, and that can only be done under a UNC-led government by Kamla Persad-Bissessar, because she proved it to you in her 5 years. The PNM has been here for more than 30 years actually. And what have they done? They're sending you back to Flambeau. Is that what you want? No. No, Chaguanas, this is not what you want. So stand with the United National Congress. Fight with the United National Congress, because you deserve better. And before I close, I must say something on the women of this country. Every day, women are murdered, they are victimized, and to me, the PNM, like, they do not like women at all, because we know they don't like Kamala, and they don't like any of the women that she placed here, because she was confident to know that women are powerful enough to run a country. So the PNM does not like women. You know, instead of they arm you all with pepper spray, they rather spray tear gas in your face. That is the mentality of the PNM. But you know what? UNC, led by Kamala Persad-Bissessar, will keep fighting for the women of this country. Because I will tell you something, you can't keep a good woman down, and nobody going to keep down Kamala Persad-Bissessar, because come next general election, and I hope that Rowley is listening to us tonight, time to get out of office, because you cannot handle this job. We are saying to you, let the UNC take control of this country and bring it back to a state of development and growth. Chaguanas West, I thank you.
Make some noise for the Deputy Mayor of Chaguanas, Marissa V. Ramlogan. And she just remind me of something, you know. Kamala Persad-Bissessar became Prime Minister, and she challenged men across Trinidad and Tobago to take care of our responsibilities. And for a while, she changed the normal rhetoric about this so-called thing called outside children, because Kamala Persad-Bissessar believes all children that you make are on the inside. They are your children, you must mind all. And men in Trinidad and Tobago were moving in a direction of responsibility, respect, and taking care of all their children. And then came Rowley, and we back differentiating, because Rowley have more outside than inside, and he don't take care of nothing outside, only those inside. When a leader is like that, can you then expect the country to respect women? Can you expect that women will feel safe? This is why Kamala Persad-Bissessar must be returned to the job that she deserves as Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. The next speaker is a man who's battling for Chaguanas, battling for resources. The PNM is starving every corporation led by the UNC across Trinidad and Tobago. But this man is a fighter, a warrior, and he takes it to them, whether it's the Minister of Local Government, whether it is the Minister of Finance. He fights for his burgesses and provides Chaguanas with great leadership and service. I have the pleasure to introduce to you the Mayor of Chaguanas, His Worship, Paik Mohammed.
Dear respected guests present here tonight, MPs, senators, local government colleagues, members of the National Executive of the United National Congress, Chaguanas West, Chairman, and executive online viewers, good afternoon. This country is being led down a slippery slope by this PNM administration. Only in Trinidad and Tobago, priority, urgency, and all the resources necessary will be given to finding a cell phone belonging to a minister's son. But when it comes to human life, when it comes to our loved ones, days will pass, and you know what will be the result? Death will be the result. I want you all to let that sink in. Let that sink in. As I mentioned that, I want to take this opportunity to send my deepest condolences to the bereaved family of those 4 divers, and may their soul rest in peace. Ladies and gentlemen, only in Trinidad and Tobago, where crime is out of control, our Minister of National Security, his response to the nation, it's not his job to make sure citizens of this country feel safe. In the words of my brother, Senator David Naked, they gone mad. These people gone mad. But I did not come here to talk about that. But I raised these 2 points for you to ask yourself, does this government really care about us? Do they really care about your lives and your livelihood? Ask yourself and ponder upon this as you go home tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I want to highlight an issue. The Deputy Mayor talked about it. Our Chairman, Senator Anna Roberts, talked about it. An issue of geographic discrimination, whereby this government neglect UNC areas and focus our nation's resources on PNM areas. This neglect recently has led to the death of an elderly couple where fire trucks wasn't able to pass on a roadway due to numerous landslips. This neglect and discrimination have to stop. Chaguanas is no stranger to this. We are a victim of this neglect and this discrimination. The facts and figures will show it. Between 2010 and 2015, the Chaguanas Borough Corporation was better off than it is today. We got more allocation for projects and to run the daily affairs of the corporation. We even had 3 days open tray service. Now we barely even have 1. At the end of our financial year, constantly our votes are in a deficit. The Chaguanas Borough Corporation has a population of approximately 100,000 and is currently being allocated $71 million. Therefore, if you do the maths, it's $710 allocated per Burgess. Whereas a PNM-led corporation such as Point Fortin has a population of approximately 30,000 and is currently being allocated $70 million. When you do the maths, they receive $2,333 per Burgess. Now you tell me, is that fair? Is that fair? No, it isn't. What formula do they use for allocating resources in this country? Are they looking to see which areas have the most PNM party cards? In the words of our political leader, the maths not mathsing. I want to remind this government that the Treasury is not the Balize bank account. It belongs to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Citizens, when your road is not patched or your requests are not fulfilled in a timely manner, it is not the councillor's fault. And this is no excuse. This is the reality. Once we have the resources available, we will fix every road. We will ensure proper drainage and tend to all your issues. You think we like to hear complaints on a daily basis from our burgesses? No, we don't. We want to be more efficient and effective at our jobs. Not for us, but for you. We know that you're angry and you're frustrated. However, you must know this. It's this government who is saying to the burgesses of Chaguanas, it's Rowley who is saying to you, Chaguanas, you deserve less. They are saying that you deserve $710 per Burgess, whereas Point Fortin gets $2,333. They are the one allocating the money for you, not myself and my council, not Kamla Prasad Bisesa and her MPs. It's Keith, it's Imbert, it's Faris, it's Stewart and the rest. They are starving us and neglecting us. because their business fixed. They renting, they yachting, and they golfing, whilst we are here so slowly suffocating. It's 2022, and an election is due. I wonder what promises Rowley will be coming with this year. In 2016, he said that he will make Chaguanas a city. In 2019, he said reform will be coming, and nothing has materialized. I have a suggestion for Keith Rowley. In 2022, you should bring your resignation and call a general election instead of local government election. We do our best with the little that we have, but it's very difficult to satisfy many needs with the little resources. We need more. We need much more, because the borough of Chaguanas is growing exponentially, both in terms of population and in terms of commerce. So my people of Chaguanas, it is time for you to join our call and demand that this government give us what we deserve, because we pay taxes as well. We need to let them know that 100,000 people live here, because apparently they think nobody lives here. Burgesses of Chaguanas and citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, now is not the time to argue and fight with your councillors and MP. Now we should channel that anger and focus it towards the real culprit, the real enemy. That is this PNM government. Let us unite under the banner of the UNC, led by a strong, dynamic, caring, visionary leader, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Let us join hands with a party that has a track record of performance, a party that will rebuild and restore this nation. Let us join together to fight for justice and equality. It is time for you to fight for your future and your children's future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Faik. Let's give him a round of applause. An excellent, excellent mayor. You know, he makes a very, very important point. Do you know that Chaguanas is the biggest municipality in Trinidad and Tobago? It is bigger than Port of Spain. This is the real capital, and this is your mayor. So I want to thank Dinesh Rambali, the MP. I want Anil Roberts. I want to recognize the head table, Deputy Leader Jerlene John, the MPs, the councillor, and you all here tonight. This is a massive crowd even though we are here observing the COVID protocols, but you all are here because we know something is wrong in this country. People are feeling hopeless, but it's this team here and the UNC that will give you hope. This team is so strong. Anil Roberts, we know him as a fighter. Every day we hear him fighting. But he's also a performer. This is an Olympic year. Let us remember when he was Minister of Sport, Trinidad and Tobago never won more Olympic medals than when Kamla Prasad Bisesa was Prime Minister and Anil Roberts was Minister of Sport. Let us give him a round of applause. Our next speaker is also a fighter, also someone who has been in this a long time. She is so young. She was the youngest leader of a municipality in this country at just the age of 28. I remember when we had a protest against crime in Port of Spain. Some of you may have been there. Some of us were arrested. I remember when we were in the police cell and we didn't know what was happening. The first person that came was Khadija Amin with a deed ready to bail us out. I remember that very, very well. She must have been just a teenager, but a fighter 20 years ago and still fighting for you. She fought for me then, and she's fighting for all of you now. Let us welcome MP for St. Augustine, Khadija Amin.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kirk Meghu, for that introduction that reminded me of the days of us protesting. And even before I could vote, I was supporting the UNC. But when we protested on behalf of people, and I was arrested in Spring Village many years ago, I learned the process and how to make sure we get bail and things. But my party stood with me, and we came out victorious after that incident. And in those times, Patrick Manning was the Prime Minister. And the PNM was on a rampage, bulldozing people's houses. And they came to Spring Village to bulldoze our recreation ground and our farmers. And Brother Norris Deonarain, God rest his soul, was with us. And we championed the cause. We burned tires for a week. Myself and another young resident was arrested. And our attorney in that matter to ensure that the HDC stopped the demolition was Kamla Prasad Bisesa. And I never forget my UNC family standing with me. I was a local government councillor. And tonight I want to pay tribute to all our councillors throughout Trinidad and Tobago and give a round of applause to those who spoke tonight. My friends, local government is the closest arm of government to people. And when Kamla Prasad Bisesa was Prime Minister, she really lifted up and empowered our councillors. Under Kamla Prasad Bisesa, councillors for the first time ever got offices and secretaries. You know what is happening today? Councillors are getting eviction notices because the Ministry of Finance is not releasing money to pay their rent. You know how much is the rent? $2,500. $2,500. Under Kamla Prasad Bisesa, we had an allowance for each councillor's office to buy a little paper to print things and so on. Today, they are doing much of that out of pocket. Under Kamla Prasad Bisesa, we had a little travel allowance for councillors. Councillors cannot function without a vehicle. You have to go here, there, and everywhere. And the road's getting even worse. We had introduced a VAT exemption for councillors to get a vehicle to help them in the performance of their duties. What is happening under this government? Who is getting the VAT exemptions? VAT exemptions is now for ministers and their friends, family, and financiers. The Attorney General of today, Faris Alwari, he can advise Cabinet on how to give our councillors a little VAT exemption, like Attorney General Anand Ramlogan. He cannot step in Anand Ramlogan's shoes up to this day. And it haunts him because every time he go on a platform, it's Kamla and Anand. He calling two names. But we have to empower our councillors to perform their duties. When we were in government, Kamla Prasad Bisesa ensured that the resources, when you read a budget in Parliament, it's approved in Parliament. You expect you will get the money they tell you they get in, not so? Because it's big people pass this budget. You know what is happening now? They pass a budget, they approve X amount of dollars for each regional corporation, and when the time comes to release the money to the corporation, it's always a problem. You call that suppression of funding. So they make a big announcement, oh yes, we are giving the corporations a lot of money. But what is happening in real life? These fellas not living in real life, you know. They are so detached from reality. So in our corporations, councillors getting evicted from their offices. In Tunapuna Corporation, you have 300 people who could go home because the corporation does not get the amount of money they need to pay their salaries. You have in other regional corporations, they have to cut the number of days they pick up garbage because they are not getting the money that they were promised in the budget. And again, P&M promises never materialize. So they continue to strangle local government. And when we were in government, they used to call us the box drain government, as if that was an insult. And today, where are the box drains? Today, you can't get a box drain from P&M, you can't get a pothole patch, you can't get bridges. I mean, bridges falling down. Anita, every week is a different protest down in Tabakit constituency. You can't get roads paved. Everything is falling apart. And they try to embarrass us for performing. They try to embarrass the UNC for building box drains. Well, thank God Kamla built some box drains. But I can tell you that this government, this is a local government election year, 2022. All of a sudden you will hear them talking about local government again. They're coming back with the same old song about local government reform. Listen, fellas, it's time to stop the talk and get into action. Local government reform, regardless of what law you put in Parliament, it takes political will. And them fellas don't have the political will or the testicular fortitude to perform and make local government a reality. I stand with our councillors. I served as a councillor for 10 years and I know what it is to be on the ground. And our councillors in the UNC have been performing, way outperforming even the P&M government, the P&M councillors and their party is in government. So I salute our UNC councillors who have taken the mantra given by our political leader, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, to serve the people, serve the people, serve the people. And local government elections coming up again, you know. And I can tell you this now, mark my words. There are seats that the P&M have right now that they ain't sure to get back. And there might be regional corporations, whole regional corporations that the P&M have right now that they ain't sure to get back. Because the people of this country are fed up. And Faik is right. It's not just a local government elections people want. People want a general election to vote out Keith Rowley and vote out the P&M and vote for a new government. I thank you very much. I pay tribute to our host MP tonight, Mr. Dinesh Rambali, and you, the lovely, wonderful people of Monroe Road and Chaguanas West. Thank you.
Thank you, MP Khadija Amin. Our next speaker is one of our senior MPs, a fiery, fiery MP. He has the energy of a young man. He's giving them fire inside Parliament and outside Parliament, telling them how they've pre-collapsed. They recently erected Kazim Hossein Trace. He is MP Rodney Charles from Naparima.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much, audience. As I listened tonight, I saw the next generation of leaders of the United National Congress. And I can tell you that the UNC is in good hands. Tonight, I want to acknowledge the political leader of our party, the best Prime Minister, and the one who we can't wait to become the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago again. Now, I will be brief and I'll be different tonight. You see, I listen to radio stations. I see my friend Skippy in front. I listen to Coffee and Doubles. You know about that? Coffee and Doubles in the morning. And I learned all the nicknames of the PNM misadministrators. So, among them, I learned that one is Convent Girl. All you know who is Convent Girl? Dial Singh. The next one is WPC. Who is WPC? Camille Regis Robinson. And then there's another one, and this is a little tricky. Who is Small Pin? Stuart Young. And who is Coleman Burt nickname? What is his nickname? I didn't. I was told it's Dwayne. I was told it's Dwayne. And who is the Honorable Minister of Education? What is the nickname? Bundles. You know, she likes to come with the headrests and fight and bacchanal taking place in the education system. But she's well dressed and pretty because that is all that the PNM has to offer. But the one that I want to talk a little bit tonight, and I don't have much time, is Fitzgerald Ethelbert Hines, also known Pomsite Rasta. And I would like to tell you, tonight, I always used to look up to Rastas as honest, straightforward people, spiritual people and whatnot. But when I look at Fitzgerald Pomsite Rasta, I am happy that today I am a bald head. Ladies and gentlemen, I am happy. The only problem I have with a bald head is Rowley has a bald head too, you know. So that I recall we bald head fellas have a joke. We say God created good heads and then he covered his mistakes. And clearly Fitzgerald Hines is a mistake. But he is the worst Minister of National Security that we ever had. And tonight I want to apologize because I used to criticize people like Edmund Dillon. I remember criticizing Edmund Dillon as a Minister of National Security. Edmund Dillon, wherever you are tonight, I apologize. You are not the worst Minister of National Security. Remember a fella called Martin Joseph? Martin Joseph, deceased. I apologize, Martin Joseph. You are not the worst Minister of National Security. Stuart Young, Small Pin, bad, terrible, but not the worst is Fitzgerald Ethelbert Hines. That man, you know, I want to give him a little script here tonight. He ought to repent for the sins and the murders that have existed under his watch. I want to tell Ethelbert tonight, and I quote from the scriptures, I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance. He has sinned our country. He has made it unsafe for our women. He has made it unsafe for our elderly. He has the worst murder rate in Trinidad and Tobago under his watch. Since he has come to assumed office, guess how many murders we had? 420 persons dead since Ethelbert Pomsite Rasta became Minister of National Security. You want to hear something? In November last year was the most murders in any November in Trinidad and Tobago. In October last year, under Hines, Trinidad recorded 51 murders. You know how many we had the year before? 32. Hines come and it jumped from 32 to 51. In January, that's the month just gone here, we recorded 50 murders. You know how much it was the year before? 24. So from 24, it jumped to 50. And under his watch, we saw 77 murders in November, the highest for that month. So it is, ladies and gentlemen, safety and security is important to the welfare of any country. Today it has reached the stage that a woman cannot be brave enough to walk High Street after 7 o'clock. It has reached the stage where you're driving your car and you want to give somebody a lift, One day I was driving and I asked some fellows, where is the correct road to get to Barkpo? And when I asked the fellas said, oh, come, I'll jump in your car and I will show you. And I had to tell the fella, I don't know you. I don't know you. And I cannot take the chance in Trinidad and Tobago in this time to bring a stranger in my car 9 o'clock in the night. And you know what? He understood. So I had to leave him there. We don't know who to trust anymore under Ethelberg. But you see, in 2015, we told them that this government had no plan. They have no plan for nothing in our country. No plan to save the divers. No plan to create work. No plan in terms of foreign policy. In 2018, the government brought a legal notice 185 of 2018, in which they declared Iran a terrorist state. And lo and behold, I see a couple days ago, our Prime Minister, lovey-dovey, with the President of Iran, who criticized the government, the United States, as imperialist. So Rowley's sitting down with the Iran, calling the United States imperialist, and we do $400 million trade every day with the United States. Oh, Jesus Christ, what are their plans? The quicker Kamala Prasad Bissessa becomes Prime Minister, the better for all of us. We cannot continue this way. And Ethelberg, do the honorable thing and resign. Yesterday I sent out a release saying that Ethelberg got $50,000 a month. That is his salary. $50,000, and asking him to justify it, give him the record of murders. And then somebody called me and said it is not 50,000. He gets 20% gratuity. We have to pay for his security. When he travels, he gets per diems, right? And he is entitled to a pension. So when you add up all the things, Ethelberg, Pompey Rasta gets over $100,000 a month. Anybody here gets that salary? And he is doing absolutely nothing for crime. He getting paid to do nothing. He is getting paid under false pretensions. He is earning a salary that he does not justify. So ladies and gentlemen, we could talk all night. I ain't intend to talk. I waiting for election. And I'm doing all in my power to ensure that this great party, the United National Congress, they could jump high, they could jump low, they could cuss me in Parliament. I could be told to sit down, shut up, whatever. I will take all the licks, but rest assured, you cuff me down today, I'm coming out of the box and the grave and I'm punching you in your head and you're getting it in your face. So ladies and gentlemen, like Sir Winston Churchill, I want to tell my party, whatever the challenges, we shall never surrender. We shall never, never, never surrender. We will fight them in the ditches. We will fight them in Parliament. We will fight them on the streets. We will fight them wherever the battle is. We are like the people of Ukraine. You could send your bombs. You could attack us. We will never, never surrender. Thank you.
Excellent. Let's give another round of applause to that fiery, brilliant contribution by MP Rodney Charles from Naparima. Our next speaker is also a fighter in Tabaquite. She has been standing with residents day after day, week after week, fighting for representation from this PNM government. She is the shadow minister for education. She is also the immediate past PRO, a scholarship winner herself. She has the solutions for education in this country.
I bring you MP Anita Haynes.
Good night, residents of Chaguanas West, the Monroe Road community that came out here tonight to listen to the people of the United National Congress, and hopefully as we conclude tonight, to share your views. I want to thank the political leader of the United National Congress for her wisdom, and the MP for Chaguanas West, Dinesh Rambali, for his execution. Because meetings like this, showing UNC is committed to being in communities, committed to representation, committed to meeting with people, COVID restrictions and all in place, shows you why the United National Congress will always remain the better choice for governance in this country. We have a mandate. Everyone on this stage, everyone that you meet, when we done our UNC logo, everyone in this room, we are representatives of the only serious party in this country. When we show up in Parliament, in the Senate, in the lower house, we are ready to talk about policy. We are ready to talk about the things to take Trinidad and Tobago forward. When they show up in Parliament, who not sleeping, who all talking, they're texting, they are saying phone going off, right? Hinds rocking back, falling asleep. It is embarrassing. It is insulting to the people of this country. Brian Manning didn't know what bill we were debating the other day. He debated the wrong bill. Sit down. It is insulting. And so we, as members of the UNC, we want to come to the people, all people, and discuss how to take our nation forward. But we can't do that. You know why? As Khadija told you, every week I have a collapsing bridge because we have to deal with wooden bridges. People cannot get to and from work because the roads are terrible. People cannot feel safe in their own vehicle. So how could we talk about education policy, trade policy, finance, economic policy? We can't even get there because the PNM has taken us to our absolute lowest as a nation. As a nation right now, we are begging for the basics. We are begging for the most basic things that government is supposed to provide for the nation. And so I say to you, as we continue to meet in our communities, as we continue to come out and present policy and to discuss with you, the intelligent, right-minded people of Trinidad and Tobago, what we need to go forward, I say to you, reject the bacchanal. Reject the old talk. Reject the nonsense, because it has gotten us absolutely nowhere. And if we continue along that path, we will go nowhere faster. And I want to thank all of the executive of the United National Congress for remaining true to the vision of our party. That people must always be put first, and if we invest in the people of this country, we will grow the Trinidad and Tobago we hope to see. So I thank you for coming out, and we will continue to be in your communities.
Thank you. We moving fast. Tassa, come down. We moving fast. Unlike the PNM, we are too many people to talk. We are too much brain. We are too much bright people. And I want to say good evening to Marsha Riley from Diego Martin, powerful woman again in the UNC. And Kamala Prasad Bisesa is the most forgiving human being on God, green earth. She forgave Vasan 53 times. I want to say a special good evening to my brother, my UNC brother, Barrington Skippy Thomas, who has rejoined the fray, and Kamala Prasad Bisesa, the leader that she is. She says to one and all, come together, unite, and let us defeat the evil Keith Rowley and his cabinet. Coming next to talk is a man that needs no introduction, a warrior from the center, the heart of Trinidad and Tobago, a labor man, a man who fights for you in the parliament. He may say that he wants to talk like this, And he wants to talk like that. But he comes from the history of the labor movement. Make some noise for Rudy in dancing.
Thank you very much, Senator Anil Roberts, political leader of the United National Congress, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, my colleagues on this platform here tonight, my brothers and sisters of our great party. It is indeed a pleasure for me to be addressing you as a constituent of Chaguanas West under the jurisdiction of a meeting that has been convened by the Member of Parliament for Chaguanas West, Dinesh Rambali. My brothers and sisters of Chaguanas and Monroe Road and environs, tonight I want you to listen carefully to what I have to say. Napoleon Bonaparte once said that the world suffers a lot because of the not because of the violence of bad people, but because of the silence of good people. And I want you to remember a quotation that was made in 1946 by a gentleman called Martin Niemöller. And he said, first they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. And then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak on my behalf. And tonight, Trinidad and Tobago, I am telling you, if you are not prepared to join the movement, if you are not prepared to join the bandwagon to dislodge the most incompetent government in the political history of Trinidad and Tobago and banish Rowley and the PNM, there will be no one to speak on your behalf if you allow Rowley and his government to go unchecked in this country. And tonight, very quickly, I want to tell you, because I looked on today also at the pain and suffering of the families outside of the forensic center in St. James. And imagine a company that will tell you that they declared nearly $1 billion in profit, and a board led by Newman George that includes, when we must single out the whole board, Dr. Fayed William Ali, Eustace Narcis, Peter Clark, Riza Salim, and Avi Chedi, and a gentleman who gets a CEO salary of approximately $120,000 a month, did not have even the vision to get a courtesy vehicle to transport the bereaved families to help them undergo the trauma and the pain and the suffering that they have been encountering since this fatal accident took place on Paria. And I want to further ask you some questions here tonight, because if we want to empathize and we want to offer condolences and our sympathies to the families of the late Faisal Kurban, Yusuf Henry, Kazem Ali Jr., and Rishi Nagesa, are we prepared to tell all the employees of Paria to walk off the job and extend a day of solidarity to ensure that there's proper health and safety within the operations of Paria, and to ensure that the Rowley-led appointed board does not compromise health and safety protocols within Paria, within the energy sector, and on their mission to destroy the trade union movement, and where there's recognized majority unions and collective bargaining in this country. Are we prepared to allow the Rowley-led government to compromise health and safety throughout the length and breadth of our workers in this country? Do you want that? And do you trust this 5-man committee that has been appointed by Keith Rowley and the Minister of Energy and Energy Affairs? Because I say so because in the last 7 years, there have been numerous committees appointed by Dr. Rowley. Don't forget the Mute Committee into the acquisition and procurement of the Ocean Star and the ferries. Questions have to be still answered and have not been answered after that Mute report was given to Rowley. Then in recent times, they have appointed a 5-man committee to investigate the COVID-19 environment only after 3,500 persons die in this country. There has been 16 recommendations, and we have to ask the question, how many has been actioned by this government? And we must never forget when there was a sexual harassment allegation against a senior government minister, cabinet minister at the Ministry of Sport. Rowley appointed a 3-man committee, a 3-person committee. Where is that report today? That report was hidden by Rowley. That report was sanitized by Rowley. And that is why I am saying here tonight that I have no faith and confidence in this 5-person committee until they can tell me, until the Prime Minister can tell me that this report will be made public, it will not be sanitized, and it will be laid in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago to be scrutinized by a joint select committee. We must demand nothing less on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, my brothers and sisters. And tonight, before I end here tonight, I want to tell you at the end of the day, this is a government you cannot trust. This is a government that can give you no confidence in their ability to lead Trinidad and Tobago out of this morass, out of this abyss that we have found ourselves in 7 short years because of rampant corruption, rampant mismanagement, the most incompetent government in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, my brothers and sisters. So tonight as I leave you, we must join the United National Congress under the leadership of Kamla Persad-Bissessar as we continue our march throughout the length and breadth of this country in every nook and cranny, so that we will all unite in one mass movement and one glorious struggle to dislodge Keith Rowley and the People's National Movement as the most incompetent government since our political independence. Long live our great party, long live our great leader, and long live the rank and file of the United National Congress. I thank you.
Thank you, MP Rudy Indus. the meeting will not stop because you are the light and we have the speakers. So if the big lights go off, they're on a timer, stay calm, relax. The meeting continues. We have 2 more speakers. And as I said, 2 more. Rowley can't be one person, you know. Because one human being can't be so dotish. He had to be a twin. And you could look for a twin in Victoria Keys. Bring it to the stage, our deputy political leader. She requires no introduction. Our lady fighting for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Jolene John.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the tassel, so enthusiastic even at this time of the evening. Thank you for waiting. You are waiting. You are not waiting in vain, as Bob Marley said. Thank you to the chairman, to the honorable political leader of the United National Congress, all our MPs who are here, senators, your worship, the mayor and deputy mayor, councillors, members of the viewing audience and listening audience, TV Jagrity, ladies and gentlemen, residents of Chaguanas West, thank you for keeping the faith with the UNC. Thank you for keeping the faith with our honorable political leader, who has always said, no, you will have other leaders after her, but no one will love you as she does. So I'm just giving you that on behalf of our honorable leader. Thank you. It is beyond a pleasure to be in the constituency of Chaguanas West. I thank the honorable MP, Dinesh Rambali, for inviting me. I served on a parliamentary committee with him, and to see him in action, fearlessly fighting for this small man, it's indeed a pleasure to be here with your MP. Thank you, MP Rambali. You would have seen the exceptional speakers who preceded me. We have a very deep bench of talent, you know, from our councillors, our mayors, deputy mayors, our MPs, deep bench of talent. From our young and not so young, go watch me when I talk about not so young at all. All right? So brothers and sisters, since last Saturday, yesterday, even today, the newspapers carried, as my colleague said, talked about before, these 4 divers who died so tragically. And basically, it is a recurring theme. My good MP, Indar Singh, spoke about when they came for the various people, they didn't speak out, and that is what happened. And I must say that Mr. Joseph Henry, the father of Yusuf Henry, put it the best. He said, and I want Trinidad to know we need to get up and stand up for one another. Trinidad, I'm warning all you, the rain fall on my house now, but it will fall on all your house too. If we stay a separate and a hateful nation, we will die one by one. Bob Marley said, when the rain fall, it doesn't fall on one man house top. We're going to get up. We're going to stand up. Because when that rain falls, it falls on everybody's house top. And as UNC, we fight for the people, the small man particularly. And the MP for Chaguanas gives of his time and exceptional talent to do just that. You know, just today, I think our former Attorney General, Anand Ramlogan, was in the court winning Faris again. Well, that is nothing special. You know, Anand should do something that is special. MP Indar Singh, MP Rodney Charles, MP Khadija Amin, MP Anita, all of them, the councillors, you will have heard all of them, one by one, speaking about the fight that it is. So when we look at, when they shamelessly and bold-facedly, you know, closed down Petrotrin, the rain was falling on Petrotrin house top, because even then, at the time, I protested, I marched from Orang West to Port of Spain. I'd never protested in my life. But I felt a sense of purpose. I had to get out and walk. I mean to say, and the people who know me know that I don't like hot sun, because people don't say, black don't crack. But I believe white bread and whole wheat does burn the same way. I stay out of the sun. You know? But I walked because I had a sense of purpose on that day. And the Prime Minister, and our political leader, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, and 17 other MPs at the time, it was 17, was in the parliament fighting on behalf of Petrotrin and their workers. Even Petrotrin workers themselves did not walk that day. They didn't see the need to walk, but the rain came and it fell on their house top, economically and socially. And as a night like tonight, I was in Karapachaima at the Hindu school, the primary school. I recalled 7 young fishermen in July of 22nd of 2019. Shiva Ramdio, 27 years. Anand Rampasad, 39 years. Alex Suknana, 19 years. A baby. Leslie Dibule, Randon Kisun, 21. Jason Batiste, 30. Justin Kisun, 19. All perished. The rain visited them. It fell on their house top. You know what? Heartless Stuart Young, sat in Port of Spain, never responded. Never responded. It took 11 hours before they could have sent out the Coast Guard. So if people were looking, it was just as when they came for this one, nobody spoke up. Maybe they didn't speak up. It took 11 hours for the fishermen, those young little boys, out of Karapachaima for anything to show up. Nobody spoke up then for them. Today we have, unfortunately, those 4 divers. Maybe if we had spoken up then, we would have known the rain was going to fall on their house top, on our house top. We are in grief, beyond grief. And I join with MP Indar Singh and MP Wademark that we need an investigation now. We need to call the police now. Because what happened to these young men was beyond. It was beyond. And basically we are talking about the investigation. They are talking about what happened on the job in that pipeline. But it's what happened with the planning. There must be a during, before, and after. And it can't just be the outcome. It is the input. And in computer language, we know a term called GIGO. Garbage in, garbage out. And if you fail to prepare, be prepared to fail. Any child will tell you that. They're busy declaring billion-dollar profit, want to fool us. But the simple thing of human life, they have no care for that. And that is nothing strange. The rain has fallen, it's fallen on our house top. And we have to stop it. We have to do just like the song, I can't stand the rain. We can't wait until young men have perished to say the rain is coming and the rain is here. Too many of our young people are dying, whether it's Andrea Barrett or Ashanti Riley or Sade Emmanuel. I remembered 2 years ago, or no, it was in 2021, walking for 3 hours in the rain with Sade Emmanuel, mother Junior, and her father Junior and her mother Marilyn. And you know what he told me? The daughter had been missing then for 2 years, but they had found some bones and a skirt, and it could have been. And just for them to get some closure, they need the DNA report. To this day, 3 years, they can't get that. Nothing. Because we have a heartless, vile, wicked, cruel, wicked and bad government sitting down in Port of Spain. It is time we chase them out of town. And it turned into the crazy ballhead. And I heard MP Rodney Charles talking about his bald head. But MP Charles, you don't have to be dread to be Rasta. You could be dread with your bald head. You have to be dread to be Rasta. You are much better Rasta than Heinz will ever be. I don't know why you waste time with him. I don't know why you waste time with him. And today they buried my sister Nicole Charles. The rain visited them in Westmoreland. And she was my sister. She was the best friend of my actual sister, my little sister. The best friend for 30 years. I mean, people look at her. She's of Syrian ancestry. But she was essentially a Trinidadian. You will not have met someone more pleasant and kind and decent. And today, they buried her because the rain fell on their house. You see, Nicole will not be the last person shot by bandits younger than 25. She never got to celebrate her 50th birthday in precisely 9 days or less. Well, the nation has already moved on. Nobody knew I suppose few people knew her funeral was today. Because we have lost our innocence and must cope with a constant stream of violent events, which has made us numb, apathetic, cowardly, and permanently traumatized. Rowley and his band of thugs and crooks and vagabonds, they have normalized suffering. They have normalized pain. They have normalized callousness. We don't care anymore about anybody. When did we get to this point? Trinidad and Tobago, we need a reset. Chaguanas West, we need a reset. This is not how we used to be. We used to be each other's keeper. That was our guiding values. There was no difference between black and white, African and Indians. You know why? Because we were guided by our values. People look after their children, put food on the table, a roof over our children's head. That is all we needed. We were one. But Rowley has divided us. So that has enveloped my beloved sister, Nicole, in its safety today. It is safer in Trinidad. It's ironic. It's safer to be dead than alive. I hope God grants her the eternal peace. Today, as Father Emmanuel Prayer said at her funeral this morning, he said, may the angels receive Nicole Moses and lead her into the bosom of Abraham. Very briefly, in us looking for a reason for what is happening to us, and everybody is talking about the bail bill and anti-gang legislation, and I know my good colleague MP, he speaks about these things and he fights. But this is not where it starts, It starts in the home. It starts in communities such as this. It starts in the school, because when you end up in the police, and it's the end of the road. I don't know why people saying police, police, police. It's the end of the road. That is not the outcome that we want. And some time ago, I recall a young man coming up on the UNC platform, like tonight, and he said, UNC, Miss John, we want work, we want a chance. You know what Stuart Young did the following day? He was Minister of National Security. He went into the Guy file and he called a press conference. This young man, his face was on every paper the day after. But his name was David. David is not a single story. David's brother, at 15, had been held for murder, and by that time had been in jail for 10 years. His mother ran for 3 miles to find David because she didn't want her other child to end up in jail, because the police were looking for him, because nobody else but the Minister of National Security had fingered him. And that is the kind of government that we have. Callous and cruel. They don't believe in second chances. So in conclusion, in management, they teach us that an organization takes on the DNA of the leader. And what we are seeing is not unusual. The fish rots from the head. And if we are callous today as a people, it's because our government is callous. If we are uncaring, it's because our government is uncaring. If we have no moral compass, it's because our government has no moral compass. This Rowley's government of quacks and invalids, they have no alignment with the law. They don't care about democracy. They believe they're above the law. And Trinidad and Tobago, we are better than this. Because lest we forget, let me just remind you briefly, Chaguanas West. I want Trinidad to know we need to get up and stand up for one another. Trinidad, I'm warning all you, the rain fall on my house now, but it will fall on all your house too. If we stay as a separate and hateful nation, we will die one by one. I thank you, Mr. Henry. I thank you, UNC. I thank you, Chaguanas West. Thank you.
Deputy Political Leader, the Honorable Geraldine John. And if your government is divisive, if your government is racist, if your government divides by race, ethnicity, geography, or any other factor, the society will become divided. Keith Rowley played a race card, and yet when you get a taste of carnival, you can be elite and be in his friend Rahal Water Park with Tony Chowlin on, and you can break the law, and the commissioner of police will be your attorney and say why they wouldn't get charged. But if you're in Enterprise, or if you're in Printreville, or if you're in Samaru Village, or you're in St. Paul Street, or you're in Curep, or you're in Mova, police with gun bigger than anything in the PNM cabinet coming for you. This is not the Trinidad and Tobago that we know. Our police is supposed to serve all of us. And Rowley is playing the fool at the top. And the entire police service is ashamed at what is going up at the top, because our officers serve everyone. They put their lives on the lines for each and every one of us. They don't play games. They're not into politics. The police service is there to protect the citizens. But Rowley thinks it's his own play tool. It's his own toy. And he could turn it on who he wants, when he wants. He can't turn on tap to put water. But he could try to turn police against those who go against him. We have one more speaker. And remember, every Thursday going forward, the United National Congress, TNT, speaks. We will be in Pointe-a-Pierre next week Thursday, where the Chief Whip, the Member of Parliament for Pointe-a-Pierre, the Honorable David Lee, would chair proceedings. And then after that, every Thursday, pay attention. The man who put together today's brilliant, amazing, groundbreaking meeting with so many speakers, so many points of view. The man who represents Chaguanas West in the best traditions of the United National Congress. A man who loves the people, for the people, a brilliant man. Please welcome the Member of Parliament for Chaguanas West, Dinesh Rambali.
Good evening, Chaguanas West. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to start off by saying that we have breaked a little bit of the protocol in having Senator Jerlene John, Deputy Political Leader, speak before me. But it was because we know we are working with the time on the lights. And Anil Roberts said when he came to Chaguanas West, a lot of people tell him, they say, boy, Ramble is a man have real skills in the dark, you know. So he said, don't worry. He said, that man can handle it, don't worry. So he said, put me for last. Our political, our honorable, beloved, fearless political leader, Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, Senior Counsel. Deputy political leader, Miss Jerlene John, Senator the Honorable Jerlene John. All other parliamentary colleagues who are here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, those who are viewing and they are listening on the different streams, live streams, on our broadcasting on radio and TV Jagrati, all of the different streams, I want to say good night to you all. Before I get into what I want to say to close off, I think it is only fitting, let me have some of the constituents, because they have something very important to say. So I want to welcome Mr. Melvin Hussein and his family, his daughter and his wife. There's a message they want to share on behalf of Chaguanas West. Melvin.
Chaguanas West constituency! Good night, everyone. I just want to say thanks to the Member of Parliament, Mr. Dinesh Rambali, for giving this family, to let us know, let the mother of the nation, and I repeat it, our mother of the nation, know how much the people of Chaguanas West constituency love her so much, and we are willing, and we are ready, and we're ready to stand with you to fight this wicked, nasty, Keith Rowley and the thieving PNM government. We're ready, and we're ready now, and everybody here will vote so that we want to stand up. Just like how the Tobago people say, enough is enough. We are saying enough is enough. We cannot wait for 2025. We cannot wait. Mother, we are ready and we are willing. The Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, we are ready and we are waiting. We dare. We want to make the first move, the Chaguanas West constituency people. I just want I don't want to stay too long because I want to leave you with two little things. I put on this shirt to make a statement. What you should do. I will tell you why. From 2010 to 2015, our beloved Trinidad and Tobago is to be like this. Growing in the night. Seeing it beautiful day or night. You know how our country is right now from 2015 to now? It's black. You can't see, we can't see we way. So we need to come out of this. We need to come out of this. And if I'm going to talk about the good that our mother of the nation, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa, did in her term with her people, I had to talk until morning. If I had to talk about what Rowley do, it takes less than a second, nothing. All right, so we want to say, we are willing and we're ready and we are waiting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Melvin Hussein. And we have one more person who wants to share some words. Miss Trisha Rajlal from the Chaguanas West constituency, who has a very important message as well.
Thank you, MP. Good night, everyone. I would just like to send one message out that the PNM stands no chance against our UNC party and our MP, Dinesh Rambali. Well, I really didn't prepare, but this was, for the moment, Dinesh. I would just like to say that you're doing a wonderful job, and I'd like to send a message to our political leader and let her know that we love her and she's welcome here any day, anytime, and she knows that. Thank you.
And I know these constituents represent the voice of everyone here and throughout Chaguanas West. So to our political leader, Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, we support her time and again. I have to say that when I see the kind of work she's doing, calling up MPs, including myself, in the night and making sure that we are ready, giving all the guidance, the blessings to go to Parliament and to, always urging us to get down into the ground in the constituency. All of these MPs, they will echo the same words, that Mrs. Prasad Bisesa is always standing tall and supporting us. Senator Jolene John does the same thing. And Senator John and Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, if I have to be reborn, let me be reborn as a woman like both of you. Real fire. And when them fellas getting on bad in the Parliament, you hear Rodney Charles said it tonight, when they giving licks in the Parliament, these ladies, they don't take the licks, they just give bigger licks on the next side. I just want to say that you all have heard all of the speakers. This is my hometown, Senator John. I live just a stone throw away from here. Used to live there. And so this is my hometown. I played football in this ground. I played cricket on this ground and all the other savannas that are adjacent to it. We made a lot of mischief. Sometimes we make cook down in the back there by that tree. And we used to have a lot of fun and do all of these things. And this is why, this is how Chaguanas West, we like to do our things. It gives me I have to say, there's no greater pleasure than to do something like this with the people of Chaguanas West when it comes to supporting our political leader and the United National Congress. So once we know that we are called upon, this is a mandate from our political leader, that she wants us in the ground, she wants us in the trenches, she wants us on a serious outreach with the people, because you all are our voice, you are our support, and we are also expected to be your voice in the Parliament. So this is really her mandate and her instructions and her guidance. So once called upon, I, naturally would want to pull out all these stops. And I want to say that, special thanks to former MP for Chaguanas, who is really the caretaker, who spends his time, a lot of time and his resources on this ground. And once I told him, former MP Manohar Ramsaran, once I told him we wanted to use this ground, he got the rollers and he started to invest immediately in preparing the ground for us. So I want to thank him. But why I say that it is because if the political leader was to grace us in Chaguanas West, I would have to ask his permission to just lay out red carpet all over. Because this is what we would do. I want to tell you all very quickly that the country, our country, is not in a very good place. And so I join the chorus that you have heard here tonight, and it is a serious one. We extend our deepest sympathies, our condolences to those families who have lost their loved ones in that serious, Paria, tragic incident. I won't go back into it. We have heard a lot about it. But what it shows a lack of caring. It shows a lack of understanding for your own people by the PNM. And this is what we have to stand up against. When we're talking about Bill and we're talking about all the blows, my good friend, my brother-in-law, Mr. Kyle Taklal Singh is here, Section 1. When we shine all these licks in court, it is because we want to make sure that democracy is protected in this country and we get our marching orders from the UNC, particularly Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar. So I want to thank each and every one of you. I want to thank all the speakers who were here tonight. We have, I can't go through the whole list, but I mean it's a lot of speakers, the local government councillors, every single one of them, the mayor, deputy mayor, and all the other councillors. I want to thank all the MPs who have come here. You will see Rodney Charles leave Naparima to come up here. Rudy Inder Singh, one of my best constituents, mind you, but he has left his constituency to be here tonight. I want to thank, we have Anita Haynes from Tabakit, all the way from Tabakit, did not hesitate to come here. We have MP Ravi Ratiram, who has left, although he's not carded to speak, giving of his time, coming here. We have our General Secretary, Mr. Peter Kanhai, and I could go on and on with the list. We have all of the media persons who are here, Archie and team and Radio and TV Jagrati. And we have, I'm coming to, you see, Skippy always rushing things, you know. Always rushing things. Skippy, Barrington Thomas Skippy. But Skippy, thank you for that. I did not forget. And I want to say that as far as my Yarrow constituency, we have MP Rushton Parry from Yarrow here as well. So before the lights go out, so to speak, on this program, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. I want to urge you all, as did Senator Anil Roberts say, please follow all of the meetings, Monday Night Forum. If you know Senator Jolene John, Deputy Political Leader, and our beloved political leader, Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar, they have the party out there every day of the week. Whether it is a press conference, whether it is a meeting like this, whether it is we have the Monday Night Forum, which is the most traditional forum that we have, all of these things, we are out there every day. And I want to tell you, the political leader is the one who micromanages all of these things to make sure that it is befitting for the people. I want to thank our PRO, Dr. Kirk Megu, for being here. And I could go on and on. We had Victor Roberts earlier. He was here, he started the program. And I want to thank particularly my brother, Senator Anil Roberts. When I wanted somebody to chair the program, I thought, listen, and I told the DPL, I told MP Ravi Ratiram, that I really could not think of anyone who had more energy than Anil Roberts to come down in Chaguanas West and get this thing going. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. I have spent the whole day today frying doubles. It's out there. So you all can partake of doubles. Tasting good, Melvin. I have spent some time getting in the trenches because we wanted to spend this time with you all. So safe journey home. I want to thank each and every one of you on behalf of our political leader, deputy political leader, all my MP colleagues, all the senators, all of those in the party executive. Thank you so very much. And I will be looking forward to meeting each and every one of you in due course. Tonight, yes, but in due course, we will all be getting together because there's a lot of work to be done and we will be getting into the trenches. So thank you again. And I want to say good night.
Make some noise for the Member of Parliament for Chaguanas West, the Honorable Dinesh Rambali. And as we say good night on behalf of the United National Congress, I bring a message from the leader of the UNC a lady who has a bigger heart than I can ever dream of. All are welcome on the ship of the United National Congress. We will unite. Who was vexed? Oh Lord, forget that. Who want to cry? Don't worry about that. Who want to pull aside and weep? Weep, but join the United National Congress to rid this country of the evil that has taken over, to bring back good governance, intelligence, and solving problems. The United National Congress is about people, about labor, about teachers, about the services. We believe that back pay is something that people deserve. We don't believe that that is bad spend. We believe in laptops for children, hospitals for children, women getting time to take care of their children. We believe in Trinidad and Tobago of old. So join with the UNC. To those who will divide, you go into the darkness and go with your bow and your arrow if you so choose. Go with your boat, your bow, your old people party, and go your way. For those of you who want a bright new future, join with Kamala Persad-Bissessar, the United National Congress, and help us to sweep the PNM into the Gulf of Paria and put their political party in a pipe underground.